Well, it has been a while. Actually, it's been about 6 months since I've posted any content to this channel. And given that a lot of you guys have been subscribed for over a decade, I don't feel great about that. But I've had a lot going on, so we're gonna talk about that in this video. So many of you guys know that in March of this year, my wife and I had our first baby. Her name is Maple, and before Maple was born, she was diagnosed with a severe heart condition. Several of them, actually. And I made a video about this back in March, but I haven't posted many updates since then, so we'll start there. First of all, Maple is doing great. She is nearly 8 months old, and she is absolutely massive at 22 pounds. Maple just got home from her second open heart surgery, and that was called the Glenn procedure. This was a really big surgery, much more intense than her first one, but we are officially on the other side of that, and she's recovering fine at home with no complications, thankfully. So thank you guys for all of the countless thoughts, prayers, kind words, magic spells, voodoo, whatever y'all did, it worked. And Maple is doing incredibly well given the circumstances. So thank you guys very much.
Mama. Papa.
Now, if heart surgery wasn't stressful enough, we also had to deal with Hurricane Milton in the same week as baby heart surgery. But considering the damage that cities like Tampa and Asheville are still dealing with, we feel incredibly lucky to have only lost this giant tree, which fortunately landed on my gym and not my house or my studio, so we definitely dodged a bullet there. So that's the update for Maple and for Milton, but what have I been doing for the last 6 months? Well, in the last 6 months, I have been to Rhode Island twice. I've been to Sweetwater twice. I went to Manhattan to film with Estepario, to West Palm Beach to film with Mudvayne, and I also went to the UK drum show in Liverpool. And I did all of that as a marketing specialist for Alesis drums. So I started this job on May 1st, and for transparency's sake, this is a full-time gig. I'm not an affiliate or an artist or some random rep. I am a salaried full-time employee on the Alesis marketing team. So with that said, let me back up and explain how all of this happened. Back in February, just before my daughter was born, I drove to Casey Cooper's studio in Atlanta, where we filmed the launch videos for the Alesis Strata Prime. Now, I did that project as a YouTuber, but over that weekend, Casey tells me that he's been talking with Alesis about potentially taking a job with them. So the shoot for the Strata Prime was actually somewhat of a test run for what it might look like to have a YouTube drummer join the marketing team at Alesis, because Casey basically organized that entire Prime shoot, which was me, J-Rod, and R. David R. for like 4 days in his studio. But over that same weekend as we're shooting, Casey tells me that he just got a job offer from Sweetwater. And if any of you guys follow Casey, you know that he took the Sweetwater job and he actually moved to Fort Wayne earlier this year to join their marketing team. I actually just went up to see Casey in Fort Wayne, but I was really disappointed because he was just doing this the whole time. You can never take that dude seriously. So it was originally through Casey that I was first put in touch with Alesis. Now, all of this took a while before it came together because you gotta remember, at this time, my wife is 9 months pregnant and we still have a heart surgery to get through. Meanwhile, Alesis is busy launching their first pro-level e-kit, so they had a lot of stuff going on. But ultimately, the timing of this was just stellar because shortly after I had posted the video about Maple and her GoFundMe, I started this discussion with the folks at Alesis, and we explored how someone with my unique background as a YouTube drum teacher could bring value to an electronic drum company. And I feel like I have to mention how not normal this entire situation is for everyone involved. You know, on one hand, you have a major drum company who's considering hiring a YouTuber as an employee. That's something that I've never heard of a drum company doing before. And for me, I'm considering this significant change in my career, moving out of the spotlight as an artist and into a job that's almost completely behind the scenes. Now, clearly, my job with Alesis has gone well in the last 6 months, or I wouldn't even consider making this video. Alesis has been really easy to work with, especially when it comes to navigating this big, weird leap and all of the unique challenges that kind of come with this. So in this particular video today, I don't want to give you an entire breakdown of exactly what I do for Alesis. I'm going to save that for a separate video because there's a lot of cool stuff that I want to share with you guys. But for now, let me just give you a quick overview about what I now do for work and how it might affect this YouTube channel. First of all, it is helpful to remember that virtually all successful companies at this scale have marketing departments. Roland, Meinl, Zildjian, Evans, Vic Firth, Tama, Pearl, all of these brands have high-level marketing executives or marketing directors. And these are very smart people with a lot of experience in the marketing world, much more than I have. And a lot of these marketing teams and these people are responsible for putting out all of the badass content that you enjoy from your favorite drum and cymbal companies. But marketing gets tricky as the industry becomes more niche, and the drum industry is most definitely niche. Drummers are a bunch of weirdos. We kind of live in our own world. And as a drummer of 23 years who's made a career by effectively reaching a lot of different drummers, my job is to help translate or interpret the drum industry for Alesis. Now, drum industry translator, that's a really artsy way to describe what I do, but I'm gonna make a dedicated video in the next few weeks that explains exactly what my job looks like so you guys can get a better picture of exactly what I'm doing, and hopefully I can shed some light on what goes on behind the scenes in the world of drum or instrument marketing. Now, Alesis doesn't pay me just to share my insights on the drum industry. I also do a fair amount of content creation for them. I've made several videos for their YouTube channel and their Instagram, and that includes some setup tutorials on how to build their e-kits. I've also filmed some Alesis videos at Sweetwater and had a chance to create content with some very talented Alesis artists as well. There's a few links down in the description if you want to check out some of the recent videos that I've made for them. Now, one of my favorite parts of the job is actually working with YouTube drummers who play Alesis gear. And as you can imagine, this is something that's actually kind of easy for me because I've now experienced this from both sides. I've been the YouTuber who's collaborated with drum companies, and I'm now working on the company side, collaborating with the YouTubers. So getting the full scope of this part of the industry has been super interesting for me. But truly, what I love about what I'm doing now for Alesis is that I'm in a very specialized position. It feels like this job was almost custom made for someone like me, because my resume, if I'm being honest, is weird as shit. It basically says YouTube drum stuff for the last 15 years and almost nothing else, at least nothing that most companies in the world would ever care about. But through Alesis, I get to put all of my weird skill sets to use. Content creation, social media, playing drums, all while getting to speak on behalf of the industry that I grew up in and getting paid to advocate for my people, drummers. When I considered all of these upsides and the fact that my entire family would now be insured through Alesis, while I still get to work from home in my own studio, I had a hard time justifying why I wouldn't at least give this opportunity a chance. And was I nervous or worried about this? Yeah, for sure, man. Like, I haven't had a boss in 15 years, and like the only child that I am, I'm really accustomed to having total control over everything that I do. So in anticipating that there would be a pretty steep learning curve, I wanted to see how all of this stuff played out before telling you guys about this. But after 6 months of working for Alesis, I feel confident that I made the right decision and that it was finally time to bring you guys into the loop. Now, as I hear myself say this stuff out loud for the first time, I know that there's a portion of you guys that will perceive this as, selling out or giving up or some version of quitting. And maybe there's a little bit of truth to some of that, but there's a very real part of me that feels like somewhere along the way to becoming a successful YouTuber or a pro drummer, whatever you want to call it, I kind of ran out of things to prove. So for example, the journey to reaching 30 million YouTube views was insanely rewarding, but doubling that to a number like 60 million just doesn't have the same appeal. A new custom drum set won't hit any harder than my last custom drum set. Doing a clinic in front of 5,000 people probably feels really similar to doing a clinic in front of 2,500 people. I did everything that I set out to do, and truthfully, that feels awesome. And I say all of this here because if any of you have wondered why I've taken my foot off of the social media gas pedal in the last few months, that's why. And it's not a bad thing. It's not sad or dark. It's just the nature of being successful in your 20s. As I creep into my mid-30s now and fucking fatherhood, my goals and my interests are different than they were when I was a 20-year-old aspiring YouTuber. So this brings me back to this YouTube channel and what I'm gonna do with this platform. I'm tossing around ideas about how I can merge my drum industry marketing role with, YouTube content for this channel, and I'd love your feedback on exactly what that might look like. Now, of course, there are many parts of my job that I just can't freely talk about on YouTube, but I want to find some different ways that I can share my world with you now while still making interesting and valuable content, because this is an education channel after all. And if you have any ideas on how you'd like to see these two worlds brought together, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts. In the meantime, I am very much enjoying this position with Alesis, and I'm still hard at work in the drum industry. I'm just doing different stuff now. I'm also learning a ton as I dive deeper into the world of instrument marketing and slowly wrap my head around everything that goes into making an instrument as complex as e-drums. I really hope to share a lot more about this stuff with you guys in the near future, but for now, we're just gonna leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it as always. Adam here, the Orlando drummer, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.